Hey there, welcome to another album review, and today we actually have Gorillaz with Plastic Beach, which is actually one of my favorite albums from Gorillaz. I mean, not that I've heard many of them, but still. And Plastic Beach actually came out in 2010, 15 years ago, which is, man, how time flies, honestly. This album actually has 16 songs, well, 18 if you count like the little deluxe thing, whatever. Which, I already made my thoughts about that very clear. But yes, 16 songs, and essentially Gorillaz, if you don't know, it's, well, how to describe this band? Basically, I mean, it's a fictional band, obviously, but it's like the sound is very focused on, more specifically, like the synthetic sort of EDM type thing. It's like, okay, imagine like hip hop, but instead of having like the samples, or instead of having the sort of beats or whatever, a lot of it is just very synthetic, right? It's very using synths, or just making the sound very electronic, very robotic, even very weird, right? So basically that's the way I could describe it, and in a way it shouldn't work, but it does. It should not, the sound should not work, but somehow it does. Now when it comes to specifically this album, you can really feel that, especially because I would even say that, I mean, and given that the name of the album is called Plastic Bitch, a lot of the sounds sound kind of plastic, which is they sound like sounds that sort of, it's very plastic electronic in a way. I know it sounds a weird way to describe the album, but that's sort of how I would describe the album. Now, usually, if you also don't know Gorillaz, one of the things that they actually have a lot is features. They tend to feature a lot of artists in their albums, and this album is no different. And I mean, the features really do make this album, in my opinion, because features like Mos Def, especially in the songs Stylo, you can really see how much they make the album, especially in the songs that are more rapping, which actually I didn't enjoy it as much. I'm gonna be honest, I did not enjoy the rapping songs all that much. They were by far my least favorite in the album, which is a shame, because especially at the end, they're mostly at the beginning of the album. The end of the album is more the, I guess, the electronic weird sounds that Gorillaz likes to produce. So definitely on that regard, I guess, shame on me. Not to say that they're not good, they are, but it's just a thing that I don't enjoy too much. Also, somehow they got Snoop Dogg to be here, where the song or the album it starts with a orchestral intro for some reason, which is very weird because it never comes up again in the album. So it's a bit misplaced, in my opinion. I got a bit confused because I was like, okay, orchestral intro, cool. But then I was like, wait, I know some songs from this album, and I know that this album has nothing of orchestral in it. And yeah, I wasn't wrong. This album has nothing of orchestral in it. So I don't understand why it started with that intro. I personally, I just don't think that an orchestral intro would be the best fit for this album, and definitely it wasn't. Yeah, and you can see it wasn't. But yeah, and then it proceeds to have Snoop Dogg with Welcome to the World of Plastic Beach. And I'm gonna be honest, as always, Snoop Dogg lines are not very good. Like, you read the lyrics of what he's rapping and you just go, what the fuck are you babbling about, dude? It's the most nonsensical bullshit ever. And then you just hear the song and you go, no, yeah, actually, it sounds really cool. It just sounds really cool. I don't know, like, Snoop Dogg has this really weird ability of writing stuff that doesn't really make sense or sounds impressive or anything like that. Like, it kind of, like, a lot of the stuff he writes kind of just sounds really bad, in fact. But then you hear him actually rapping it and you go, oh shit, that's actually pretty fucking cool, right? Actually, that fits the song perfectly. And it's like, how the fuck does he do it? I don't understand how he does it. And I guess it's talent, and that's why he's featured in so many songs of so many, like, different genres, because he definitely doesn't just get featured in rap. I know that he got featured in some pop songs and everything. I guess that's how he does it. He's really good at turning, like, I don't know, like, you just hear Snoop Dogg say something and you go, yeah, that actually sounds really cool. Like, sometimes you just read what he writes in the songs, the lyrics, and you just go, that's so fucking stupid, dude. And then you listen to the songs, like, actually the song is really good. It sounds really cool what he said. why you know the lyrics, you know what he's saying, but somehow it's like it goes from being kind of trash to actually being really good, just being really cool. I don't know how he does it, but yes, there's a couple of features in this album. They definitely do make the album, but again, like the features are mostly prominently displayed in songs that are more on the hip hop rap side of things, because they don't really have anyone that raps in the band Gorillaz, the fake band. Because the creators don't rap, so I understand why most of the time that's it. And those features are super interesting because contrary to most features where the rapper has like a verse or two, here they just have the entire song. So except for like the singing the chorus, but yeah, they just kind of have the entire song, which is a very interesting way of approaching things. Now, for the most part, and from what I remember, there were two songs that they just didn't really connect with me too much. It was Super Fast Jellyfish and it was White Flag. White Flag, when it started, it had a lot of like percussion instruments that were from they sounded like somewhat tribal, somewhat Indian. I don't recall very well, but I know that it was something like that, and personally, it's not my favorite song. It's also like a rapping song or whatever, not my favorite song. I think when Gorillaz is at their best is when they really have these weird sounds making the melodies and letting you indulge and engage with those sounds. I think that by far that's when because believe it or not, a lot of these songs are actually really good atmospherically. Like, for some reason they're really good to just like have in the background and sort of be transported to another world, which is you wouldn't really expect, but yeah, that's sort of like what it feels. And yeah, I mean, that's usually what happens, or that's what happens here, at least in the latter half of the album, where the earlier half was far more mixed. The problem is, the earlier half was far more mixed, but at the same time, it did have completely banger songs, right? So, for example, after White Flag, you have Rainstone Eyes, which is a more, I guess, toned down song and everything, but it's a really good song. And then you have Stylo, which is pretty well known. It's a swagger of a song, and it sounds really good. And yeah, that song has like 3 features, and they really diversify the song and like complete it. Because I think that the song without features, it would have been still a good song, but definitely it wouldn't have as much flair as the song has due to the features, which is something that a lot of Gorillaz songs tend to have. Is when they have features, they have like this little flair that, again, like they just throw little details to sort of complete the song and complete the more basic stuff they put out. Especially in the beat and everything, which tends to be a bit more basic. Then they just put a lot of flair into the song, and it makes it feel like you just get transported to another world, like, that it's something completely different, especially with how weird the sounds usually are. So it's really good, and then you go to the Super Fast Jellyfish. Okay, cool. But then you reach by far the best song in the album, and I will fucking die on this hill. This is the best song in the album. Which is Empire Ends. Empire Ends was a very weird song when I first heard it, because I was like, oh, okay, it's like this, it's not sad, but it's very like subdued song. It's very, sort of down, you know what I mean? It's mostly just very simple beat, a couple of sounds here and there to sort of, again, color the song, and then just singing from the front man of the band for like 1.5 2 minutes. So you're like, okay, yeah, this is a pretty chill song. It's kind of melancholic, it has sort of this melancholic tone to it, but it's really good. And then it slowly transitions and the song opens up, and it's like you just fucking ascending all of a sudden, right? Where the feature starts singing, but the song just gains an entire new color to it. It's like the song sort of opens the doors and everything gets filled, everything just gets its fair share, and everything just gets so much more alive, right? And it's like it feels like you're just ascending to a higher plane. Straight up, the best song in the album. It's an experience of a song, and it's, in my opinion, easily the best song, and easily the best song in the album. Like, it is that good, and I will fucking die on the hill that it is the best song in the album, which is actually kind of hard to be, because the album does have a lot of other good songs. And again, up until this point in the album, you already had Stylo, you already had Rainstone Eyes, so very kind of hard on that regard. And then, you know, like the rest of the album is much more like, I guess, vanilla Gorillaz, at least for this album, where very weird sounds and everything makes it really feel like you're in a plastic beach. Again, sorry for that, but it, you know, I like when there's sort of this atmosphere created for the albums. That's something that I really love when albums do that. And here, especially with album cover, I know that I haven't been talking a lot about album covers lately, but to be fair, they haven't been really impressive either. And this one is actually really cool because it helps paint the picture of the atmosphere that the album creates. Yeah, the latter half of the album is really good when it comes to that. You have a lot of songs that I actually really enjoy. Some that are more chill, others that are more, you know, it's like melancholic chill. It's very weird to explain how it sounds, but it's very like melancholic chill. Songs like Broken, I actually really like Broken, and it's sort of like this chill song, but it sounds very it sounds very chill, but it's kind of like melancholic. So yeah, and you know, you have other more, I guess, chill fan songs like Some Kind of Nature, you know, and Plastic Beach as well, for example. However, and I think that obviously we need to talk about this song, which is On Melancholy Hill, which is, I think, the most well-known song in the entire album, and for a reason. On Melancholy Hill is a melancholic song, obviously, but it's the definition of melancholic. And the song, I say that Empire Ends is easily the best song in the album. This would be like runner-up, easily, right? I think these two songs define very well what Plastic Beach is, and specifically on Melancholy Hill, it's very... I think what really makes that song and what makes it so melancholic is exactly the atmosphere that Gorillaz is able to create through all of the weird little sounds, right? Through all of the little melodies and everything that's going on, right? That is really what makes a lot of the atmosphere on the album. And when it comes to a song like On Melancholy Hill, which is a melancholic song, you want to have that atmosphere, you know? Sometimes you want to like... be transported to another world in order to better understand or better feel some emotion, and in this case melancholy, which yeah, look, this song really fucking good. It does it really good, and it's very bittersweet. Like, that's something that I really enjoy about a lot of these songs. You know, for example, as I said, Broken, or what was the other one? To Binge, right? Or even Plastic Beach. They're very, like, I call it chill but melancholic, you know, and that's what I mean. They're very bittersweet, because on one side they are kind of chill because we're talking about you know, a beach, but on the other side they're very melancholic, and with all of the sounds that make it sort of, it's somewhat electronic, somewhat like alien, you know, somewhat plastic even. Just creates this sort of bittersweet thing where, especially on the song On Melancholy Hill, you don't really know if you should feel sad or kind of like, you know, it's like, sorry that happened, or I'm glad it's over. You know, you kind of don't know how to feel, and that's actually a really cool thing, because I think that sometimes songs are way too straightforward with what they mean and what they make you feel, and I think that On Melancholy Hill really has that sort of bittersweetness to it, where it feels sad, but it also feels happy, you know, like it brings you this sort of, maybe not happy, but it brings you this sort of comfort, right? So it's like, it's either sad, but it's also very comforting, right? It's very bizarre how it works, but it's very good. So yeah, I mean, that's the entire album. I'm gonna be honest, like, at the beginning, when I started listening to it, I was like, man, I remember this album being way better when I first listened to it. I mean, to be fair, I didn't listen to every single song. I listened to a couple of them, like 4 or 5, back in the day. But you know, I was like, oh man, I remember those songs being way better, and like, what is this style? I don't remember this being the style of Plastic Beach. But then as more I heard the album, the more I realized that actually the album has a lot of great songs, and I think I heavily like underestimated, because again, at the beginning of the album I was like, album is not that great actually. Where's the sound that I actually really enjoyed? Is it just confined to the 2 or 3 songs that I remember? No, actually, that's the majority of the album. And as soon as you set into the mood, I think that a lot of the songs start clicking better. I think that a lot of the songs start working better. But definitely, you can actually feel that towards the beginning, the album was, I think, was going to be way more diverse. Where by the end of the album, you sort of have this feeling that some of the songs kind of maybe were a little bit rushed, but at the same time they work much better because they work much better to create the atmosphere of the album than a lot of the intro songs actually did. So yeah, obviously my favorite, Empire Ends. I think Empire Ends, even if you're not a fan of Gorillaz, it's a must listen to song. Same with On Melancholy Hill and Stylo, actually they're really good, but especially Empire Hands on Melancholy Hill are the 2 songs that I would genuinely recommend listening to anyone, even if you're not a Gorillaz fan. So yeah, with that being said, obviously we need to go to Vibe Meter, and my Vibe Meter right now is telling me, honestly, it's between an 8 and a 9. I think, yeah, I don't know, honestly, it's between an 8 and a 9. I think it's screaming more for. I mean, I can just give it both an 8 and a 9. I guess like I was talking about bittersweetness and how, you know, on Melancholy Hill can be both sad but also comforting. Fuck it, you know, let's just go middle of the road and just say it's an 8 out of 10, but it's also a 9 out of 10, because, you know, decimals don't exist in our Vibe Meter, so it's an 8 out of 10 and a 9 out of 10, and I'll see you tomorrow.